how to use the Truma Combi control panel in the Benimar Tessoro T481. To turn the control panel on, push this button and it will fire up. As I rotate the button, they will begin to flash. If we start with the first little icon here, this one is for your heating. If I now click on the button, the heating is off. All we now do is rotate the button and pick whatever temperature we would like it to be inside the motorhome, right the way up to a very toasty 30 degrees. So I'm going to now set it at 22 degrees. Press the button and that will now store it into its memory. You will now see a little flame has appeared above. That little flame there just represents the heating system. It's just letting you know that you've set a parameter. Whenever the heating is running, the little flame will start to flash. Let me just turn it up a bit because it is quite warm in here today. And let's just see if we can get it to flash. There we go. That will now continue to flash until it achieves the temperature I've just asked it to do. If we now press the button again, we can now move along to the next icon, and this one here is for hot water. Again, if I now click on the button, hot water is off. If I now rotate the button, we can heat hot water in eco mode, which will give us a water temperature of about 40 degrees. And I can rotate it again and it will give us a water temperature of about 60 degrees. And if I rotate it for a third time, we can also perform a boost on the boiler. The boost is very handy if you are all going to shower in very quick succession of each other. If you do perform the boost and the heating's running, the heating will turn off as it needs to take the power to do it. What I will now do is I will drop it back down to eco, and as you can now see, that is also flashing to let you know it is working up to temperature. If we now rotate to the next series of icons, this is power source. So whether we want to be running the system on gas, mains electricity, or a combination of both. We are currently running on gas with a little picture of the gas bottle just up here. If I now click on that icon, I can put it into dual fuel mode. So that is now using a mixture of gas and mains electricity at 1 kilowatt. And if I rotate again, a mixture of gas and mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. These particular mix settings are very handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. They only use gas as it is required. After your mixers, you then have EL1, so mains electricity at 1 kilowatt and mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. This just allows us to lower our power consumption if we are on a low amp site. It is always advisable to come to this particular icon first whenever you turn the unit on, to pick what power source you want first, because if you don't have main supply connected and you're on mains, you will get an error code. I will explain error codes properly in a moment, but for now I will now put it on mains electricity at 2 kilowatts. If we now move across to the next icon, this one is the circulation fan. The fan is currently in eco mode. We can turn it up to high, and that circulation fan can also be used to vent the motorhome. If you wish to do that, you do have to turn off hot water and turn off the heating. If I now return to it, we can now put it in vent and we have a fan speed of 1 to 10. So on a warm day we can just circulate the air about. After the circulation fan, we then have the lower icons. This first one here is for a basic timer. Click on it, enter a start time, so let's say 6 o'clock in the morning, and then an end time, say midday. Once we've done all that, then literally tell it what you want on. So let's say we want to warm the motorhome up to 20 degrees. We want hot water at 60. We want to be using dual fuel, and we'll leave the fan in eco. Once we've done all that, we can then turn the timer on and off here. If I now turn the timer on, now within that time period those settings would then apply. If I now return to it, I can now turn the timer back off again, and now when we return it we can alter it. This button just here just works as a return button to get us out of anything we no longer want to be in. This next icon just here is literally just to set the correct time of day. Literally pick the time and click to store it in. This icon is the settings menu. Within that we have offset, which is just for the thermostat. You can just tweak it if you don't think it's quite correct. Temperature, just if you prefer it in centigrade or Fahrenheit. Brightness of the screen. (12 or 24-hour clock). Language. Index, which is more for technicians, just lets them know what software it's running. And lastly, full factory reset. This icon here is just letting us know that we have main supply connected to the van. From time to time, these particular units can throw up error codes. They are usually basic stuff. An error code will appear where my finger is here as a warning triangle, and if you then click on that warning triangle it will display a series of numbers and letters, and then within the manual, or if you Google search it, it will let you know what the problem is. 9 times out of 10 it will be something basic like a power source issue. So it will be telling you, I do not have main supply, I do not have gas. If this is a case, usually if you rectify the problem, the error code will go out automatically. If that is not the case, I always advise, if you've still got stuff on along the top, you turn them off, because it can reassess a lot faster when it's not trying to do lots of things at once. If that still does not rectify the problem, turn the unit completely off and on again. The way we turn it completely off is by holding the button in. It will firstly say app, which I'll explain in a minute, but if I continue to hold it, it will go to off. Off will then stay on the screen for either a few seconds or a few minutes, just depending on how long the unit has been on for. There we go, it's now off. If I now turn it back on again, if you've still got an error code, I then always say just factory reset it. You can't hurt it in any shape or form. Sometimes, like any electrical device, they can glitch and just need a factory reset. In this particular model, if I now just grab the camera and move it round and come across to this window here, if I now slide the curtains out of the way, you will see this little device here. This is a little Truma pressure switch. The flue for the boiler sits underneath this window. So if you are running your heating or your hot water on gas and you open this window up, you will get an error code appear on the screen, because if I now open this window, the pressure switch will pop out to cut the boiler off to avoid carbon monoxide poisoning. Okay, also with this Truma Combi boiler, it can be connected to the iNet. iNet is an app that you can download onto your smartphone or a tablet, hidden away in the wardrobe is the iNet box, which is just here. If you wish to connect up to it, you need to download the Truma app onto your device. Make sure your Bluetooth is turned on and then launch. When you launch, you will see a button appear that says remote control. If you press that, you then need to follow the on-screen instructions. It will firstly ask you to come to this box and press the Bluetooth button. That will then send out the signal and you will commence to link up to your device. Once it is connected up, you can then control your heating and your hot water locally via Bluetooth. What you can also do is add a pay-as-you-go SIM card to the slot down the side, hence why the GSM light is flashing at the moment. If you put that in, you can then register it again on the app and then control your heating and your hot water from further afield. It does not need to be an expensive SIM card, as it does not require data. All that is happening is your device is sending a text message to it and it is sending a text message back. Because I'm currently now not actually connecting anything up to it, the Bluetooth will eventually time out. Whilst we're on looking at heating and hot water, I will now come to the Truma boiler itself, which is located just here. All you really need to know about your boiler is how to drain it for winterization. That is done at this location just here. If I just lower this part, which is also used for the travelling seats, and we lift up this false part here, you can then see this little blue diamond just here. This is the boiler drain valve, and on these particular models they are automatic. Just going to turn the torch on. There we go, we can see a lot better now. Okay, so if the internal temperature of this van drops below about 3 or 4 degrees, that valve will automatically open and it will drop all of the water out of the boiler. If that happens, a little blue button will pop out at the base of the unit. You will be able to see that in a moment, because I'm also going to show you how to manually drain it. So if we're going to manually drain it for winterization, or if we're just not using the van for a long period of time, we basically come to this blue diamond here and we twist it. When I twist it, right the way down here, you'll see a little blue button pop out. Okay, so that is now dropping all of the water out of the boiler. You may be able to hear faintly in the background, the water pump is running. The water pump is now frantically trying to fill the boiler back up again. So when draining down, do make sure you have turned your water pump off. To reset it, twist the blue diamond and then push the blue button back in to reset. And because I've left the water pump on, it is now repriming the boiler back up again. If we now
just get back in. There we go, that's better. I can see it again. If that blue button has just popped out for auto drain and you are trying to push it back in and it will not stay in, it is just too cold in the van. So you just need to turn your heating on to bring a bit of temperature into it, and then it will reset. Right, let me just grab my phone and turn my torch back off again. There we go. Let's cover that back up. Next we have, on the terms of water supply, underneath the two travel seats, the water tank. So we can gain access to the water tank on the black cap just there. So if you want to add cleaning solution, etc. to it, clean it out, very easy. And then the water pump just sits on top. When we are draining down for winterization, we need to make sure that the fresh tank is drained down, the waste tank is drained down, the boiler has been drained down. Once all of those are emptied, I do then still suggest that you open up all your taps, so that way if there is a harsh frost, the water will be forced out the end of the tap and turned into an icicle instead of expanding and splitting pipe work.